Jax's revenge domain.
I still remember that Tuesday morning like it happened yesterday. I was checking the pressure gauges on line 3 when Jason Caldwell walked into the plant floor. Kid didn't even have his safety glasses on. Just marched right up to me in his pressed cactus and said, "Mitch Garrett, right? I need you in my office. Now." The name's Mitch Garrett, by the way. 47 years old, been running operations at Summit Industries for 17 years. Navy Seabees before that. Built half the infrastructure you drive on every day. But that's another story. Jason didn't wait for me to finish the inspection, just turned and walked toward the office like he owned the place, which technically his daddy did. Harold Caldwell had built Summit from nothing back in the 80s, made it the go-to supplier for Department of Transportation projects across 3 states. Now his 29-year-old son was taking over, fresh out of some fancy MBA program. I followed Jason up to what used to be his father's office. The old man's awards were gone, photos of job sites replaced by some corporate motivational posters. Jason sat behind the big oak desk like he was playing CEO in a movie. "Mitch, we're restructuring," he said, not even looking up from his laptop. "Your position is being eliminated. Effective immediately." I stood there, hard hat still in my hands. "Come again?" "We don't need legacy personnel dragging down efficiency metrics. Nothing personal, just business optimization. Legacy personnel. That's what 17 years of keeping this place running got me." I thought about my daughter Sarah, sophomore at State. Thought about the mortgage payment due Friday. Thought about telling a 29-year-old kid exactly what I thought of his efficiency metrics. Instead, I smiled, set my hard hat on his desk. "Understood," I said. "Have a good day, Jason." His eyes flicked up, probably expecting me to argue or beg. When I just walked out, he looked confused. Like his MBA classes didn't cover what to do when the old guy doesn't fight back. I packed my toolbox in silence. Been carrying the same Klein pliers for 23 years. Got them in the Navy. Guys on the floor watched me load everything into my pickup. Nobody said much. What could they say? Driving home, I kept thinking about timing. Why now? We were 3 weeks from finalizing the biggest contract in company history. $85 million Department of Transportation job. New interstate bypass project. I'd spent 8 months putting that proposal together. Knew every specification, every regulation, every inspector who'd be signing off on it. That night, Sarah called from college. Needed $400 for textbooks. I told her everything was fine, just some changes at work. Didn't mention I might not have a job to pay for those books or her tuition, or the mortgage on this house I'd been paying on for 12 years. Next morning, my phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Harold Caldwell's name on the screen. "Mitch," the old man's voice was tight. "What the hell happened yesterday?" I explained about Jason's restructuring plan. Harold went quiet for a long minute. Son of a, he caught himself. "Mitch, did Jason look at the DOT contract before he fired you?" "Don't think so." "Why?" "Because you're the only one certified for federal heavy construction projects in this company. Your name's on every permit, every inspection form, every compliance document." Now I went quiet. Harold continued. "We're supposed to present final documentation to DOT tomorrow morning. Without your certifications, we can't even bid on the project." The pieces started clicking. My safety certifications weren't just paperwork. They were federal requirements. You can't work DOT jobs without someone holding the right credentials, and getting those certifications takes 18 months minimum. Background checks, training, testing. You don't just hire someone off the street for this. "Harold," I said carefully, "what happens if Summit can't fulfill the contract? We lose the $85 million plus penalty clauses, plus our reputation with DOT, plus," he paused, "plus about 300 jobs when I have to shut down the plant." I sat there in my kitchen, coffee getting cold. Jason had pulled the pin on a grenade without knowing what it was. "Mitch, I need you back. Name your terms." I thought about Sarah's tuition, $28,000 a year for in-state. Thought about the guys on the floor who'd been counting on this contract for steady work through next winter. Thought about Jason's smug face when he called me legacy personnel. "I'll come back for the DOT presentation," I said, "but I want some things in writing first." Harold agreed to everything. Full reinstatement, authority over all safety and compliance matters. And Jason was to have zero involvement in operations decisions, zero. I showed up to Summit at 8 a.m. sharp. Jason was already in the conference room, pacing like a caged animal. When he saw me walk in with his father, his face went red. "What's he doing here?" Harold dropped a stack of papers on the table. "These are our DOT compliance documents. Take a look." Jason flipped through the pages, his confidence fading with each one. Every form had my signature, my certification numbers, my federal contractor ID. "I don't understand," Jason said. "You fired the only person legally authorized to work on federal projects," Harold said. "Without Mitch, We can't touch dot money. Can't even subcontract the work. The dot meeting went smooth as silk. I'd worked with these inspectors for years. Tom Bradley had been doing federal compliance since before Jason was born. Sarah Martinez knew every safety regulation in the book. When they walked into our conference room at 9 a.m., Jason tried to take the lead. Gentlemen, ladies, welcome to Summit Industries. I'm Jason Caldwell, the new CEO, and I'll be presenting our proposal today. Tom looked at his paperwork. We're here to see Mitch Garrett. He's the certified representative on file. Jason's face went pale. Well, I can certainly handle any questions you might have. Sarah Martinez smiled politely. Mr. Caldwell, federal regulations require all documentation to be reviewed by the certified project manager. That's Mr. Garrett. Has been for the past 8 years on our projects. I stepped forward. Tom, Sarah, good to see you again. Let's walk through the specs. What followed was 2 hours of technical discussion. Bridge load calculations, environmental impact assessments, worker safety protocols. Jason sat there like a tourist, understanding maybe every 10th word we said. When Tom asked about the concrete mix specifications for the overpass foundations, I had the answer. When Sarah questioned our erosion control methods near the wetlands, I showed her the detailed mitigation plans I'd developed with the Army Corps of Engineers. When they wanted to know about our crane operator certifications, I had the files ready. Jason contributed exactly nothing to the conversation. By noon, we had preliminary approval. Contract signing scheduled for the following week, $85 million in work guaranteed for the next 18 months. The kind of job that keeps a manufacturing plant running steady. After the inspectors left, Jason cornered me in the parking lot. This isn't over, he said. Dad won't always be around to protect you. I adjusted my hard hat and looked him in the eye. Son, I've been protecting myself since before you could tie your shoes. But thanks for the warning. The next few weeks, Jason tried to make my life difficult. Suddenly, my expense reports got lost in the system. Safety orders I submitted came back marked incomplete, even though I'd been filing the same paperwork for years. Purchase requisitions for critical equipment sat on his desk for days. Small things, petty things, but documented things. Then the real sabotage started. I began getting calls from duty inspectors about irregularities in our safety reports. Forms that showed my signature but contained information I'd never submitted. Equipment certifications that didn't match our actual inventory. First call came on a Thursday. Tom Bradley sounded confused. Mitch, we've got your weekly safety report here, but the numbers don't add up. Says you've got 12 certified crane operators, but last month you reported 8. I pulled out my files. Tom, I submitted 8 certified operators, same as always. That's not what we received. Digital submission shows 12 with your signature. I knew what Jason was doing. Kid was smart enough to realize he couldn't fire me again, so he was trying to make me look incompetent. Get me in trouble with federal regulators, maybe even criminal charges if he could make it stick. But Jason made one mistake. He didn't know about the backup systems. See, when you're dealing with federal contracts, everything gets copied. Multiple databases, redundant records, audit trails that go back years. And when you've been doing this as long as I have, you keep your own copies of everything. Every form, every submission, every email. I started documenting the discrepancies. Real reports versus the altered versions, timestamps that didn't match. Digital fingerprints that trace back to specific computer terminals in the administrative wing. The pattern became clear after 2 weeks. Someone was accessing the system after I submitted reports, making changes, then resubmitting them under my credentials. Always small changes. Always things that would make me look careless or incompetent. Meanwhile, Sarah called again, needed money for a summer internship program. 40 cent $200 for housing and materials. I told her I'd handle it, but inside I was calculating. Mortgage payment, $2,400 a month. Her tuition, $28,000 a year. My truck payment, $450 a month. Health insurance, $800 a month. Without this job, those numbers didn't work. 3 weeks before contract signing, Harold called another meeting. This time, Patricia Wells from corporate legal was there, along with a federal inspector I didn't recognize. Mitch, Harold said, we've been conducting an internal audit. Some concerning irregularities have come to light. My chest tightened. Had Jason's frame-up worked? Harold slid a folder across the table. Someone's been falsifying federal safety documents. Using your credentials without authorization. I opened the folder. Inside were the real reports alongside the altered versions. Side-by-side comparisons showing exactly what had been changed and when. Digital forensics traced the alterations to a specific user account. Patricia said, someone who thought they were being clever. The federal inspector spoke up. Mr. Garrett, you're not in any trouble, but we need your help understanding how these falsifications were possible. I looked at Harold, his face was stone. Where's Jason? Being questioned by federal investigators, Patricia said, falsifying government documents is a felony, particularly when it involves Department of Transportation safety protocols. The inspector continued. We've been tracking these irregularities for 2 weeks. Your backup documentation helped us establish the timeline. Someone was accessing the system at night, making changes, then covering their tracks, or trying to... I thought about Jason probably sitting in some sterile government office right now, realizing his MBA program hadn't covered federal document fraud penalties. What happens now? I asked. Harold leaned back in his chair. Now we sign the contract on schedule, and we make sure this never happens again. The contract signing happened on schedule. Harold was there, I was there. Jason wasn't. Turned out the kid had been sloppy. Left digital fingerprints all over the altered documents. Bragged to his college buddies about teaching the old man a lesson on social media. Federal investigators don't mess around when it comes to dot fraud. They'd been watching him for weeks. The signing ceremony was simple. Tom Bradley represented the Department of Transportation. Sarah Martinez handled the environmental compliance side. Harold signed for Summit Industries. I signed as project manager and certified representative. $85 million, 18 months of steady work, 300 people keeping their jobs through Christmas and beyond. After everyone left, Harold and I sat alone in the conference room. He looked older than his 66 years. Running a company for 30 years takes its toll, especially when your own son tries to burn it down. I failed him, Harold said quietly, as a father, maybe as a teacher. I shook my head. Some people have to learn the hard way. Some people never learn at all. Harold stared out the window at the plant floor. Guys were already prepping equipment for the interstate project. New concrete mixers being delivered, steel reinforcement bars stacked and ready. What would you have done, he asked, if it was your daughter? I thought about Sarah, smart kid, studying environmental engineering at State, wanted to work for the EPA someday. She'd called the night before, excited about her summer internship, working on water quality testing for industrial sites. I'd have made her start at the bottom, I said. Learn what work looks like before telling other people how to do it. Harold nodded slowly. Jason pled out this morning. Community service, probation, lost his business license, won't be working in this industry again. I didn't feel satisfaction, didn't feel revenge, just felt tired. A 29-year-old kid had nearly destroyed everything his father built because he thought an MBA made him smarter than 30 years of experience. Board meetings next week, Harold continued. They want to discuss succession planning. Jason's obviously out. I need someone I trust to help rebuild what he damaged. I knew where this was heading. Harold, I'm not management material. I'm operations, I fix problems, I don't create policies. Maybe that's exactly what we need right now. Over the next month, things settled into a new rhythm. I kept my regular duties but started attending board meetings. Finance discussions, strategic planning sessions, stuff I'd never cared about before, but now I needed to understand if I was going to help run this place. The interstate project kicked into high gear. We had crews working double shifts, quality control inspectors checking every pore. Safety meetings every morning at 7 a.m. sharp. Jason's sabotage had one unintended consequence. The federal audit revealed inefficiencies we'd been missing for years. Redundant processes, outdated equipment, systems that needed upgrading. We used the DOT contract profits to modernize, new computer systems for project tracking, updated safety equipment, better training programs for younger workers. I started mentoring some of the newer guys. Kids fresh out of trade school who knew theory but had never actually built anything. Taught them how to read concrete like a book, how to listen to equipment and know when something's wrong before the gauges tell you. One kid, Danny Rodriguez, reminded me of myself at 25. Sharp, eager, but didn't know what he didn't know. I put him on the interstate project as an assistant supervisor. Let him make small mistakes while I was there to catch them. Why do we test the concrete every 2 hours, he asked one day. Because concrete doesn't lie, I told him. Temperature, humidity. Mixing time, everything affects the cure. You miss a bad batch and 20 years from now, a bridge fails. People die. Danny started carrying a notebook, writing down everything. Same way I did when I was learning. Sarah visited during spring break. Drove out to the job site to see what her old man actually did for a living. Watched us pour foundations for the overpass supports. This will be here for 50 years, I told her. Maybe 100. Long after I'm gone, people will drive over this bridge every day. She nodded, understanding something she'd never thought about before. You build things that matter. We all do, even the paperwork I fill out. Even the inspections that seem pointless. It all matters. Later that evening, we sat on my back porch. Sarah was telling me about her classes. Water treatment systems. Environmental impact studies. How to clean up contaminated sites. I want to do what you do, she said. Build things that last, fix things that are broken. I smiled. You will, just in a different way. The board meeting finally came. Harold presented his succession plan. He'd stay on as CEO for 2 more years, then transition to chairman. He wanted me as VP of operations immediately, with the understanding that I'd become COO when he stepped back. Mitch understands this business from the ground up, he told the board. He knows our people, knows our capabilities, knows our customers, and he's proved he'll protect this company when it needs protecting. The vote was unanimous. That night, I called Sarah at college, told her about the promotion. The raise, the new responsibilities. Dad, I'm proud of you, she said. You saved that place. No, I said, we all saved it together, but I knew what she meant. Sometimes you have to fight for what you believe in. Sometimes you have to prove that experience matters, that loyalty means something, that doing the job right is worth more than doing it fast. Jason learned the hard way that actions have consequences, that you can't fake competence, that respect is earned, not inherited. The interstate project was ahead of schedule and under budget. The federal inspectors were impressed. Word was getting around the industry about Summit's quality work and on-time delivery. We'd survived, we'd grown stronger, and we'd done it the right way. 6 months later, we finished the interstate project 2 weeks early and $3 million under budget. DOT was so impressed they asked us to bid on their next major job, another $120 million project, expanding the port access roads. Word gets around in this business when you do things right, when your concrete doesn't crack, when your bridges don't shift, when your safety record stays clean. Harold officially stepped back to chairman that fall. I moved into the COO role. Danny Rodriguez got promoted to project supervisor. The kid had learned to read concrete like a veteran, still carried that notebook filled with observations and lessons. We hired 50 more workers for the port project. Good jobs with benefits. 401 key matching, health insurance for families. The kind of work that builds communities instead of just bank accounts. Sarah graduated summa cum laude that spring, got a job offer from the Environmental Protection Agency. Regional office in Atlanta, starting salary $68,000. She called me the day she got the news. Dad, I'm going to be inspecting industrial sites, making sure companies follow environmental regulations. Kind of like what you do with safety compliance. I smiled, keeping people honest, making sure the work gets done right. Exactly. At her graduation ceremony, I sat in the crowd watching her walk across that stage. Thought about all the overtime hours that paid for her education. All the nights I came home tired and dirty so she could have clean clothes and a warm house worth every minute. The port project kicked off that summer, bigger than anything we'd done before. More complex, more visibility. State officials came for the groundbreaking ceremony. Local news covered it. I stood there in my hard hat and work boots, watching the governor talk about economic development and job creation. He mentioned Summit Industries by name, praised our safety record and on-time delivery. Harold found me after the ceremony. Remember when you thought you weren't management material? I laughed. Still not sure I'm leading by example is the best kind of management there is. That evening, I drove past the interstate overpass we'd built, cars streaming over it in both directions. Commuters heading home, families going to dinner, truckers hauling freight to the port. None of them knew my name. None of them cared who poured that concrete or checked those safety specifications, but they trusted it would hold, trusted it would get them where they needed to go. That's the thing about building infrastructure. You create something bigger than yourself, something that serves people for generations. Jason, last I heard, he was working for some consulting firm in Chicago, making PowerPoint presentations about operational efficiency, probably telling clients about his experience in manufacturing operations. Some people learn from their mistakes, others just find new places to make them. Danny Rodriguez reminded me of that truth every day. Kid asked questions, listened to answers, respected the experience of guys who'd been doing this work since before he was born. Why do we over-engineer these supports? He asked during one of our morning site walks, because 50 years from now when we're gone, this bridge will still be carrying traffic. Hurricane winds, earthquake tremors, floods we can't predict. Better to build it too strong than to have it fail when people need it most. Danny nodded, writing in his notebook. Same lesson I'd learned 20 years ago from a grizzled foreman who'd probably forgotten my name. The cycle continues, knowledge passed down, standards maintained. Work done right because that's the only way to do it. That Christmas, Sarah came home from her new job in Atlanta, told stories about inspecting chemical plants and waste treatment facilities, making sure companies followed federal regulations. Some of these managers think they can charm their way past violations, she said. But the regulations exist for a reason, just like safety protocols, I said. Someone gets hurt when corners get cut. Exactly, the chemistry doesn't care about quarterly profits. Water contamination doesn't care about stock prices. Reality has its own rules, she understood. The work we do matters because people depend on it. Infrastructure, environmental protection, safety compliance, all of it connected, all of it necessary. The port project wrapped up the following spring, another success, another reference for future bids, another group of workers who'd learned valuable skills. Harold announced his full retirement that summer, handed over the chairman role to the board. Moved to Florida with his wife. Before he left, we had dinner at the same restaurant where he'd hired me 18 years ago. Different conversation this time. Different perspective. You saved this company, he said over coffee. I shook my head. We saved it, all of us. Together. Jason never understood that. Thought leadership meant telling people what to do instead of showing them how to do it right. I raised my coffee cup. To doing it right, to doing it right. These days, I get to work before sunrise, check the gauges, review the safety reports, walk the floor and talk to the crews. Same routine I've followed for years. But now I also attend board meetings, review quarterly reports, plan for the future, think about succession and training and keeping this company strong for the next generation. Danny Rodriguez is ready for bigger responsibilities. Sarah's doing important work in environmental protection. The guys on the floor trust the leadership because we've earned that trust through consistent action. Jason learned that respect can't be inherited or demanded. It has to be earned through competence and character, through showing up every day and doing the work right. Look, I know this story might sound familiar to some of you. Maybe you've dealt with entitled bosses who thought their degree made them smarter than your experience. Maybe you've watched good companies get damaged by poor leadership. Maybe you've had to fight for respect you'd already earned. Here's what I learned. Document everything. Know your worth. Don't back down when you're right. And remember that competence speaks louder than credentials every single time. The work itself is what matters. Build something that lasts. Do it right the first time. Take care of the people who depend on you. In the end, that's all any of us can do. Show up, do the work, build something bigger than ourselves, and teach the next generation to do the same.